Today, we've been going over the last 3 or 4 weeks, the realms, in the perspective of working with Darius J. Wright, with out-of-body work that I'm doing with him right now. And so it doesn't mean that whatever our beliefs, whatever our, more so our knowings of beliefs is not to be also brought forward. So like, this is an interaction we have together, meaning if you have stuff to share, you share. Don't feel like, this is just me talking. This is about us coming together to discover. We're on a discovery, an interstellar discovery, but also together as bigger consciousness comes together. We're literally laying the tracks as we go, every now moment, light particles stacking up in front of us. So this exploration that we're on in this so-called ship, this ship that we find ourselves, every space that we find ourselves essentially is like a ship. Our light body itself, our being itself, welcome. Our body, our physical body, but more importantly, our soul body, the light body that is more physical than this physical body. Hi, Kimberly. And that physicality of the light body, I hope that today we have in our meditation, our guided meditation, as well as right here in this now moment, that you start to even more feel that physicality of your light body. And so coming back to the realms, we're just exploring with a framework of using, raise your hand if you're familiar with Darius J. Wright, his work, a couple of us. Welcome. There's a seat right back there.
Back there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you, Sergey. And so we're looking at the realms, but we're just bringing forward other perspectives as maps, because I love to investigate maps that are already existing, like iridology, reflexology, the meridian system, all these maps that have literally been put to 4 corners and called landmass, discovering different landmass maps that have been hidden and taken away. All of these maps that have existed, it's as a researcher, I love to actually find them and look at them. But most importantly, has for me this past 25 years has been sitting with you all to discover what comes up from what we bring forward from our exploration. And so that's going to be personal to each of us, but also what we find when we do research together is that it overlaps. We're seeing the same things, we're experiencing the same things. And this kind of, for me, it gives me confirmation that it's real. Not that I need to have what I know is real because I experienced it in my dream time. I'm out of body. I'm being here with you right now. I'm experiencing it. I don't need that validation or that confirmation from you. But as we come back off the islands of individuality, it is these comings together of confirmation together that we're going to start to float naturally together and feel more comfort in that exploration and grounding it to what we would call like the new heaven on earth already exists. All that is behind these smoke and mirrors is eternally there. So here we go. Okay, so some of the things that Spirit was talking about is realm 4, when we're looking at the central channel, so your spine, but more importantly, the energy body that rides along the spine. We've looked at the energy centers, also called chakras in some systems. We like to talk about them as energy centers, but we look at these as doors, like elevator doors. Coming up your central channel when you take a breath or you bring your light, your awareness up your central channel, you coming out each of these doors with your awareness, meaning if I was to ask you right now, where do you feel like you're coming out, even listening to me? Point to the area you feel like you're even listening from. What door hole does your awareness take you? And if you need to close your eyes to do that, to kind of feel that, you'll just feel it. And then look around the room to see where people are at. And then it's like, now I'm coming out here too, okay? So I see like there's a theme. I see here and here. Did anybody have different than here or here? No? So again, that to me, like it shows us something, not even but from thought, but from this deeper sense of knowing, gnosis, there's something going on right here, right? So coming back, these door holes, like you're coming up an elevator, it's just something for you to start to be more aware of. At least I'll speak to myself. It's something I want to become more aware of. Where am I coming from? And where am I being stimulated to come out? So like if something unnerving walked into the room right now, I might come out down here because I'm like, okay, hold on. To like strengthen my base and my core, to or that energy might be a density that I literally need to come out this door hole. And there's something, I don't want to put a hierarchy to it, meaning it's not like coming out of different door holes is bad or right or wrong or good, but it's just something to start to sense. And when we look outside these door holes, we can also see that they overlap with whatever energy center. It's also going to parallel or work together with a subtle body. So your first energy center seems to have this first subtle body and the physical body in mind. The second energy center comes out about, like if this first one came out between my legs about 1 to 3 inches and come up around my body and then came down through me to have the back of that energy center, so like an hourglass coming between my legs. The same thing for the second energy center is going to come out. Let's say this one was 1 to 3 inches. The next one would be like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 inches. And then the third's going to come out a little farther and make another subtle body. The fourth's going to come out and go a little farther. And then all of a sudden we've got this big aura. And these energy centers give us literal rise to the subtle formations that we call these different energy bodies. So we've got that. And then we've got access to different realms. We've got access to different planes of existence. So through my own research and exploration, this has been like a big key and a big part of how I can understand this greater mapping and the greater discovery when I do go interstellar, when I come inside for my meditations, my travels in the dream time and things like that. So we also want to add in there is the elements. So as we've mastered elements this lifetime and others, we also can realize each door hole also has a certain element to master. The earth, 1, the water, 2, 3, the fire, and 4, the air today. And then 5, the ether, 6, the star, 7, the void. So, and it could be different for somebody else. That's just the mapping system I've been working with. So when we're working with this 4th realm, mastering things with air, our breath, flying around in the astral, acknowledging that we're weather and that we're the clouds or this huge wind that comes through, all of those wind elements we can also be kind of looking at when we're doing our exercises with exploring the realms. So what the topic was when I was, tuning in yesterday was about our ascension preparation for ascension. We're already a master and we're already ascended. We're already our eternal flame. It's just what needs to be done to get us out of the subconscious identities that we've created. Because these identities, every time I identify with something after I'm a woman, I am, a goddess, I am my name, different names, again, so many names this life. I then keep cinching down and creating a cage to then miss out on that eternal flame and the eternal presence that's beyond any form. It's formless that I am, and miss out on the greater experience I'm finding that I would like to explore more and be here as. So today's exercises, we're going to be looking at finding core motivations that are driving our behaviors. And somebody who knows how to turn off that music in there and just push the button. Thank you. And so I'm going to guide us through a practice where we'll just tune in, and I'm going to ask us questions about what is motivating you for different types of actions. And the 4 different actions are thoughts that you're having, emotions that you're feeling, actions that you're doing, and behaviors that you're continually doing. And questions that I'll be prompting us to ask are pretty simple. When we have the thought, it's, why did I think that? Because most of what's going on here is truly memorized, automatic, subconscious, autopilot ways of acting. When we are eternal self, we are the eternal flame, we are the formless. There's different types of stances, I kind of keywords I say. We are present. We're beyond the mind. We're sometimes feeling omnipresent or feeling like we're just like pure space. People might say you're spaced out. Yeah, I'm pretty spaced out. I'm, a presence, we call it here, we've gone through presence practitioner training, just remembering how to just hold space in the next phase of these existence patterns. If we were to just be a new practitioner that didn't do much but sit there and hold space, that's needed. Standing on the corner of a street, all of a sudden you're guided just to stand there. We want to realize that these typically not these present moment actions. The present moment actions, typically you're not even thinking. You might channel information, or it might just like, blah, 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 come out your mouth, or it comes right through. But it wasn't this you putting thought to it. It wasn't saying, let me think about this. So when we're doing this exercise, why did I think that? The homework that I'm going to hand you a sheet when you leave, if you want to play with us this week, is to look at this week. Take time. You could be doing it while you're driving, all different situations, but take time to ask these questions when you have a thought. Why did I think that? We could also say in there, why did I say that? Because thinking kind of goes with speaking. And then we're going to be going 7 layers deep. So you'll keep asking, I'll give you an example. Why did I think that? Let me just think a thought. Why are there so many buildings out there? That's what I just thought. Why am I thinking about why there's so many buildings out there? Because I need to know what's in them. Why do I need to know what's in them? Because I need to know that I'm safe. Why do I need to know that I'm safe? Because then I'll know that I exist. Why do I need to know that I exist? Because then I'll know that love really exists. And let's say I did 7, I think I did 5. Once I go to 7, then I'm going to ask, because I am the eternal self, essentially. I'm going to ask, I could say eternal self or higher self, whatever you're speaking to at this high level. Eternal self, is that true that I need to know that love exists? And you may hear your eternal consciousness channel back to you an answer of, no, that's not true. You are love. You don't need to know it exists. You are it. You may hear, yes, it's true. Doing this practice, what's going to happen is naturally, we're not going to have to call out a clearing statement, because sometimes we do clearing statement work here where we want to clear these deep subconscious patterns. It's just going to happen naturally. By you going through this deep layered cake dig, and then you asking, is that true? It's going to move boulders. It has for me the past couple days. I'm like, whoa, I'm feeling real light, really blissed out for a couple days doing this. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then the emotions is, simply, why am I feeling this? And when I was just doing that exercise with myself, I don't need to know, let me say this. If you've come to classes with me or experiences like this, a lot of times I'm wanting to know what aspect of consciousness is communicating to us, because sometimes there's many that are trying to be heard. Inner child, ego, oversoul, monad. For this exercise, don't worry about that. Just listen to what comes, and you could journal it. And I asked Spirit, I said, do you want them to journal or write this out today? They said, no, just do a guided experience and just trust what channels back to you. Just trust the thought, because the thought, typically those thoughts either is going to be your eternal self, and we would call it a channeled message, or it's going to be the subconscious mind coming in on autopilot, giving you an answer. Does that make sense? Yeah. So our subconscious mind, before I go any further, that forms the identities, all these identities. It forms these identities to keep us safe, right? And most importantly, to limit us. That keep you safe. Because why? What's it afraid of? Anybody? Pop in a bubble? Surrender. It's afraid of surrender, yeah. The biggest, it's afraid of death. You're going to let that thing go. You're no longer going to be Bobby, You're no longer going to be that identity. And then what? Then the formless exists. So then you're present. Then you're not thinking about the past and future. Yeah.
Well, especially when you're working to create that identity, to be that person, and then now you're telling it no longer needed.
Right, because our eternal flame, our eternal self already has a life plan that's so magical. It is so, you're good. You're so good. I'm getting blissed out just saying it. My whole crown's wee. You are so good. You can let go. So it's got you. You've got you. Your eternal being has got your plan, and it's moment to moment. So like I said, it's either going to be the eternal self-consciousness, and we can give that different names. Today it seems like eternal self and eternal flame wanted to come through. Or it's going to be, I'm doing these movements because it's vertical, and it's coming down from the Most High, or it's horizontal because it's a loop, a cycle. You've been looped by the subconscious mind, doing it and again, wondering why you're not getting anywhere in your life. You keep coming up to the same thing, because it's coming from that subconscious mind. And you've been hearing the subconscious mind claiming that it was your eternal self answering you back, okay? So the emotions, why am I feeling this? Go 7 layers. It may not be when you're doing your 7-layer deep dig of asking why, it may not always be that you're getting like questions and answers about the feelings or emotions. It may start switching to thoughts, so don't feel like it has to stay on emotions. Just more of it's like, why? Be curious. And then the actions, why am I doing this? Or why did I do that? And we'll put this in with it. Why am I continually doing this? Okay. And then we end it with, is that true? And that's going to literally, so I spoke about, the aura. I know that's small, but the aura that's 7 layers deep, a lot more, but this subconscious mind, because this is an electromagnetic experience in Earth 1 and on the base, this subconscious mind literally is trying to keep you safe and keep you in the electromagnetic field, building identity, building a cage. And so when you do this exercise, the visual is like, it's like poop, popping the bubble. I think one of you guys had, it just like keeps opening up so that you can be what? Space, formless. When we talk about the therapy, the longitudinal wave. Does this exercise make sense? Okay, let's do a round. So if you brought a journal, you want to keep your eyes open and journal, that's fine. But otherwise, we'll just close your eyes. If you need to stretch your body for a minute, get yourself comfortable. Let's take a few open mouth breaths, get a lot of oxygen in. Put your hands in a position that feels natural, a mudra together. Be purposeful with your hands. If it feels like your hands need to touch a body part or touch your heart center to stabilize somewhere, that's sometimes happens. And then smile. Don't have to take this so seriously. Let the answers come in easy. And I want you to think about something you've continually been doing, a behavior that you want to use this exercise for. So I'll give you just another minute or so, a couple more. Really dial in to that behavior. Why do I do? Why do I continually do? And we don't have to memorize these answers. We're going to let the answer just come on in and go on out. Here we go. So we're going to restate that question to yourself. Why do I continually do? And then say it to yourself. And then go deeper. Why to that? Whatever answer you get, say why again and add that answer into it so that it makes sense to you. Keep going. I'm just going to hold space while you go as deep as you can, 7 layers deep. And then wherever you are right now, restate that last one to you. Restate what you heard from yourself, the answer. Doesn't matter how far you went. And then ask, is that true? And listen for the answer. And then open your eyes. Wait for everybody to open. And then only those who feel called, if you feel called to share what you just experienced, go ahead and either